I think yesterday class, which was not uploaded in a correct format. So let me check. So let me open this one. Okay, so which is not uploaded in a correct format. Let me.
Yeah, Chiranjeevi joining the call.
Okay. Mhm. Fine. No worry.
For the engine, delayed.
Yep. Yep.
Good
Fine.
morning.
Yeah, so there could be an issue,
Good evening,
no,
madam.
yesterday class recording. Okay, so don't worry. I can work on it. Okay, I can re-upload it that one. Okay. Yep. So we'll join the 10 minutes. Okay, fine. So fine. So let me start the recording of today's session. Oh, it's already started. Okay, fine. So what's the last class, guys? What's the last class?
Creation of tables and the columns.
Hmm? So creation of
Creation of
database
database, in that
as well
we're
as
trying to
creation
create
of the
multiple
tables.
data.
We've seen it, right?
Yes, Sanjay.
Yes, yes. Object creation, table object creation. I have seen it.
Okay. Okay. So all of you, have you been installed that software or not?
Yes, Sanjay, I have installed it and configured. And
Everyone.
yesterday I created some of the table
Say,
databases.
Varun, everyone have been installed that one?
Yes.
Okay.
Just
So is there anyone facing an issue while your installation of that particular softwares? And have you connected from your SSMS to SQL Server or not?
I'm able to connect. Check.
Yeah, myself I'm able to connect.
Done. But yes, Ramu, what done? What but?
డౌన్లోడ్ చేశారు ల్యాప్టాప్ వేరే వాళ్ళకి.
Okay, then you can start downloading here itself. Okay, fine. So, Arvind, what about you? Have you installed that SQL Server and SQL Server Management Studio? Have you connected from SQL Server Management Studio to your SQL Server or not? And have you created any kind of database?
అవును సార్.
Then, Arvind, what you're doing then?
The procedure once explain please.
Okay, so do you have an access of recordings?
Yes.
మరి రికార్డింగ్స్ విని చేయొచ్చు కదా?
సార్ డీటెయిల్ ఎక్స్ప్లెనేషన్ ఉంటుంది కదా. ఓకే.
అదే అమ్మా, నేను 2 days చెప్పానమ్మా డీటెయిల్ ఎక్స్ప్లెనేషన్. సో
ఓకే.
మనకి 2 సాఫ్ట్వేర్స్ ఇంపార్టెంట్. ఓకే. సో మనం సీక్వెల్ నేర్చుకోవాలన్నా సరే, ఐ మీన్ ఇఫ్ యూ వాంట్ టు వర్క్ ఇన్ అ సీక్వెల్, డేటాబేస్, ఎనీ డేటాబేస్, ఓకే, ఇట్ కుడ్ బి లైక్ మై సీక్వెల్ ఆర్ ఎనీ డేటాబేస్, ఇట్ డజంట్ మ్యాటర్ వాట్ ఎవర్ ఇట్ ఈస్. ఓకే. సో మీరు ఏ సీక్వెల్ తీసుకున్నా కంపల్సరీగా, ఓకే, there could be 2 softwares we require, okay, in any database. If you decided that you want to work with MySQL database, okay, you decided you want to work with Microsoft SQL. So various databases we have it in the industry, okay. So those databases are relational databases, non-relational databases, hierarchical databases. We have a lot many databases are there. But from that one, we are going to be concentrating on the only relational database management system or relational databases only. When we are comes to the relational database, here we have a different kind of softwares are there or different kind of databases are there under the relational databases. From that one, Microsoft SQL, okay, and MS SQL, and MySQL, PostgreSQL, clear. Like we have so many softwares are there, so many database servers are there. So you decided that you can choose any one of the database, and then that corresponding 2 softwares you should be installed in your local machine. In real time, you don't need to install the 2 softwares in your computer. You have to install only one. One, it could be installed in the server side of your company, okay, but you're not working anywhere, right? So that your computer, it could be work like a server, and in the same computer you should be install the software, okay. So the server is your database server. So this is a one software you have to be installed. One is the database server, okay, and second one is the database management studio. Those are the 2 softwares you should be installed corresponding this databases, okay. For this particular course, we are using the Microsoft SQL server. Arvind, follow అవుతున్నావమ్మా?
సార్.
సో ఈ సెషన్స్ లో మనం మైక్రోసాఫ్ట్ సీక్వెల్ సర్వర్ గురించి మనం వీఆర్ డిస్కసింగ్ యాక్చువల్లీ, ఓకే. సో ఇఫ్ యూ వాంట్ టు బి గెట్ సమ్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ ఫ్రమ్ ది మైక్రోసాఫ్ట్ సీక్వెల్ సర్వర్, సో యూ షుడ్ ఇన్స్టాల్ ది 2 softwares. What are those softwares? Microsoft SQL Server database or Microsoft SQL Server, Microsoft SQL Server Express. You have to install that software, and meanwhile Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio. Clear? These are the 2 softwares you should be installed in your computer. Clear, Arvind?
Yes.
So how you have to install these 2 softwares from the computer? simply you can go to the Google and type the Microsoft SQL. Okay. So you have to go for Microsoft SQL Server Express and go to first link, and then here we have an option download. You can download and then you can install. Okay. Just 1 second. Then you just simply type the Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio and click on the first link, and then you can download this software. So this software you should be installed. Clear?
Yes.
Okay. So Arvind, if you're facing any issue, you can message me. Okay, so I can help you, right? So why you're
Okay,
stating ask the things, right? Okay. So once if your installation is done, and so if you are installed both the softwares in your computer, then it's a very simple thing. You just open your Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio, well, SQL Server Management Studio. If you click on this one, it will be open the software. This is the software only. It will help you to connect your SQL Server Management Studio to your database server so that we can write the SQL queries. So these sessions, we are able to go for learning the SQL Server or SQL language. Okay. For that one, we are using the softwares are SQL Server Database and SQL Server Management Studio. With the help of SQL Server Management Studio, we are connecting the SQL Server Database. Okay. Done. Okay. So once if you are connected your SQL Server Express database server, then you can able to go for creating the databases, and you can you can create the tables inside of the databases, right? Here we have an option for writing the new query, and so it will be creating some kind of editor window. And the last session, what we are discussing actually in our database in a tech skill DB, and we have the one table is there, and the table name is students table. Yes or no? And how many columns are there? Student ID and first name, last name, and the fees, and the course interest rate, and date of joining. So this kind of table you created, and inside of that one we are no we are just added only six columns, right? Okay. So how this particular table will looks like, if you want to look that one, so here we have an option is select the star from. So before that one, we have to select your tech skill DB. Okay. Then after you can write the query, select start from what that students. Okay. So if you click on this one, if you executing this one, you'll be getting right. This is the table. This is the column 1. This is my column 2. This is my column 3. This is my column 4. This is my column 5. And this is my column 6. Clear? So as of now, so far, what the things we are done, one is for database creation. Okay, we've seen that how we can creating the database, and second one is that how we can delete the database. or how we can rename the database. Next one is how you can deleting the database. Next one is creation of table. Next, adding the new column to the table. Existing table, right? So who will give the answer for this particular questions? This is our previous class. And I just given some kind of some examples for you, like how we can rename the table and how we can rename the column. And how to modify the data type. Modify the data type of a column. And tell me.
Yeah, and actually, all these actions, I have done it, but through visual, I didn't do by coding.
Deleting the
You
table.
have to go through the syntax.
Deleting the column. Okay. So here, this is database queries. Creating the table and deleting the table and renaming the table. It's a related for table related concepts. Okay. And adding the new column to existing table and renaming the column name. Okay. Modifying the data type of the column and deleting the column name. These are column level operations. I need the queries for this all. I need the queries. Who will give the answer for each and every one? So I would like to go for creating the trainers table. Okay, so I want to go for creating the like student management studio or student management database. Student management DB. So give the queries. Tell me, guys.
Also, you want to create a new database. Huh?
Yes. Arvind, can you please tell me what's the query we are going to be using for creation of the database? Arvind. Arvind, can you hear me or not?
Ranjan, I will tell you, create database, then the database name.
Yep.
In that,
Definition.
yeah.
Guys, all of you, you can write these all queries
Yeah.
in your notes and you can send me in a WhatsApp. I'm waiting for you.
Should I write one by one or should I send you everything,
One
like
by one.
all syntaxes one time?
One by one. One by one.
Okay, let me show you that syntax for create. Create data, then database name, keyword, then database name. That is for creating a database. Anjan, you want me to share in the Teams? Huh?
What I'm trying to tell you to all, okay. So if you are habituated this all queries, okay, so that so you can design any database, okay. You can modify any database in real time. If you are having this knowledge, basic knowledge, this is basic knowledge. After that one, constraints concept is there. If you are habituated with constraint concepts as well, so you can able to modify the database or you can work with the database, at any situation. So so create student management DB and with 3 or 4 columns, okay, and try to rename that particular database and delete that particular database and create the table within that particular database and rename the table and delete that specific table, and again you can create one more new table you can create and adding the some new column for existing table, and so renaming that column name and modifying the data type and deleting that particular column. So these are just the basic level queries actually. Okay, clear? So let's do one
Yeah, all
after one.
basic DB
So this
operations.
is the session is very, very important. I just want to give you a last thing. I don't want to explain this database information. I mean, table information and columns information in further sessions. Okay. This session only I can finish it for this particular 3 concepts like database, table, and column level. Then I have to move to the constraint concept. That is very, very important. Don't spend much time for understanding the table creation, columns, and database only. So if you're standing in the base level only, then when you can learn some important concepts. Okay. So
Yeah,
for creating the table, for creating the database, create a database is a command and followed by the database name. So I would like to go for the give the name is student management DB. This is a command, okay, for creating the database. Okay. So if it is successful or not, you will get, if you're executing this one, if it is not, if you're not getting any kind of error, then which means that the query it was executed successfully. Okay. And I just want to rename that one. For renaming purpose, we can use the alter, and you're renaming the database, right? So that altered database and your existing database name. This is my existing database name. Then after we can have the command is modify. Okay, modify name, and the name of what is the name? What is the name? For example, you can give the name is std db. std db. Okay, that's it. We can run this particular query. If we are executed, that means without any error, that means you changed the database name also. Okay, the database name yesterday has been sent up. So this command also, it could be executed. Now, I would like to go for deleting the database. How we can delete the database? We can have a command is drop command followed by the database name. And what is the new database name? So you already changed the name from the student management DB to std DB, right? So that if you want to delete the student DB, then we can use the drop database student DB, then std DB. Then we can run this particular command. It will execute it successfully. Then that means you deleted the table, you deleted the database, you deleted the database. Clear? Okay. Any questions so far? Okay.
no, sir.
No. I would like to go for creating that, same database. You can rerun it. And so this is for creating the same database one more time. Okay. The reason is that we are going to be working with a student management DB only. Okay. Creating one more time. If you are not creating and if you work with this database, you will be getting an error. So that's the reason. So I would like to go for creating that one. Okay. For example, I would like to go for use the and student management DB. Okay. I just want to use that student management DB, but I'm not created so far. I'm not created. I mean, I already created, I deleted, right? Then if you try to use it, then you will be getting this kind of error. So that's the reason. First, we have to go for create. Then we can able to go for use it. Then we can able to go for use it. When I mentioned that use command, then here it is changing the name instead of tech skill DB, then it was changing the student management DB. Okay. Now I would like to go for creating the table. So the name of the table, for example, student table. Okay. Students table. So what's the command? So for creating the table, so create a table and table name is creating the student table. Students table. So create table and followed by the table name and then open parenthesis and then closed parenthesis. In between the open parenthesis and closed parenthesis, you have to write the column name and column data type and that all information you have to write it. For example, student ID. Okay, std underscore ID. This is the student ID. So next one is column name and followed by the type of the column, what type of data you want to holding in that particular column. So I want to hold the student ID. It could be, for example, number. Then I can mention like, integer. Okay. So every column, it could be separated with a comma operator. And next one is name, student name. Okay. So std name, student name. Okay. So student name is, so we have different kind of data types are there. That data types also I can explain in further sessions. And this way you have a different kind of different data types. And so like integer, var, date, different data types we have it, that I will explain you. Okay. But this way you can able to go for creating the table. The table name is students, and inside of the student table we have only two columns, and one is the student ID and student name. That's it. Okay. If I run this one, then what happens? The command is executed, right? Now I don't want to be give the name is student. I want to give the different name. So I want to remodify. How can you modify the how can you modify that table? How can you modify the name of the table?
Alter.
For modifying the table name, we are not using alter. We have a stored procedure. For renaming the table and for renaming the column, we have the stored procedure that it could be sp underscore rename. Okay. This is the stored procedure. This is a predefined stored procedure. But if you want to use this one, we can have a command is xcv something is there. Ex ec.
EXEC.
Yes,
EXEC or other you should select that command.
yes, exec, and then after stored procedure, and then we can give the name of the table is student,
Space.
comma, for example, std table. Okay, that way you can give it. So you can run this particular command. So the command was executed, right? Okay. If you're not getting an error, that means it was executed successfully. Like I want to
We
delete.
can give the comments also table level. mean, why table I'm creating, I want to give some kind of description.
That we can
Such
discuss
we
it.
can say comments. Okay.
Yeah. So instead of confusion, direct commands will learn first. Okay. So like exev and sp underscore rename, and this is our existing table, and this is our new table name. So this way you can able to rename the table. Okay. And so, for example, I want to be rename the, instead of giving the std name, I want to give the different name. So I want to the different column name. So how we can do that? So same thing, exev stored procedure. Then what is the table name? You are already changed the name, right? Std table dot, and what is the column name? Std name. Okay, comma, and the name is what? Underscore name I want to give it. Okay, so just run this particular command. If you are executed this one, the name of the column has been changed. Previously it's a std just name, but here you are separated std and name with the underscore. This way you can able to rename it. For example, I want to look that one, whether this particular table database is changed or not. I mean, inside of the databases, you have the student management DB, and inside of that one, we have a tables, and we have only one table is there, that it could be the STD table that you changed, right? Previously, you changed the name, right? And inside of that one, previously, you have a columns names are, a student name is there, STD name is there, that you're changing the name is STD underscore name. That way we are changing the name. Okay. Now, I would like to go for adding then some new column. Okay, adding the new column for existing table. So alter. So you're going to be altering the table, right? Alter table. Okay, what is the table name? You're working with std table, and then add. So my new column name is, for example, fee. I want to add the fee column, and the data type, it, for example, it's an integer. Okay, so that's it. We can run this particular command. This way, no, you're adding. So you just no, go and refresh it, and just look that particular database, and within that particular database you have a table, and within the table, whether the column fees column has been added or not. Yes, it been added, right? Now I would like to go for modify the, instead of the integer, I want to give some kind of, it's a currency, right? So sometimes we have to use different dollar symbols, something like that, right? Okay. Or else you can just change the name from the integer to something in a different name. Okay. Different data type. Okay. So for changing the table column name, so we can use the alter table, and table name is what? std table, and then so you're altering the column, right? Alter column. Okay, what the column you want to what the column you want to modify? Fee column. Okay, so what is the data type I want to give it? For example, for example, n varchar. Okay, for example, 10, maximum 10.
What is the use of end marker command?
Sorry,
What is the use of end marker command?
it's not a command, it's a data type. So in SQL,
Oh,
so you just go and open your Excel. So Excel in the top, we have the columns, right? So every column which is holding some kind of data, right? The array of data, right? Okay. So what type of data that particular column it could be stored, that you're mentioning with help of the varchar. And varchar, which is saying that you can hold the characters, variable character. You can change anywhere. It can change the data. If you want to modify, you can able to modify. You cannot fix it. Okay.
okay.
So just we can run this one. This way, you're changing the data type. So let me refresh it. Let me refresh and go to the table and go to the columns. And inside of the columns, whether the fee column is been changed to, previously it was integer, right? But now it was changed to the data type is nvarchar. Okay. That way we can change the name. Sorry, change the data type. Now I would like to go for delete the column. So you're working on the altering the table, so that alter table and std table name, and you're dropping the column, right? So drop column and fee. So you're dropping the column is fee. So that way you can able to delete this fee column. Okay. Now I would like to go for delete the table. If you want to delete the table, simply you can use the drop table and table name. Okay. So you just run this one. You're deleting the student table. So you can refresh it. You can refresh it and go to your databases. Let me check my table is existing or not. I don't have any tables because previously the student table, we have only a student management table. We have only student table is there. That one also we deleted. Okay. Have you gone that, this all commands? Is there any questions are there from this particular commands? These are the standard commands, guys. So whatever the thick color, like, this blue color thing, we have it, right? That it could be like, commands. So these are your database names or table names or column names, something like this black color thing indicating that it could be you created some names. Okay. Any questions so far? So when you know this all commands, you can become like a data modeler, data modeling engineer. So you can apply for the jobs for the data modeling engineer. So as a data modeling engineer, our requirement is that as per the client requirement, you have to designing the database. When you're designing the databases, so make sure that you should know that these all commands. Okay. And moreover, it's a basic commands. And from Monday session, what I can deal with you, I would like to go for explaining that all constraints. Like we have various constraints are there. What is constraint? What are the type of constraints we have it, and where we can use that specific constraint? That everything I can explain you in the next class. After that one, I can explain you the data types. Constraints. Constraint. Okay. And next one is data types. Okay, if you know these things, you can easily handle the any database. After that one, we can see some kind of queries like, inserting the data into the table and adding the data into the table and modifying the data, like DML commands we can see in the later on sessions. So, so far we are working with the DDL commands only. DDL commands in the sense data definition languages. DML in the sense data manipulation languages, database manipulation data manipulation languages. Those things we'll discuss in the next week actually. So this Monday session, I would like to explain about constraints and data types in SQL. Okay, constraints and data types in SQL, that we will discuss in the next class. Okay, bye. See you. And guys,
Okay, thank you.
who are joining from India, can you please stay in the session?
Okay, Anjan, thank you.
Thank you, Anjan. I'm also leaving. Thank you.
Yep, leave that.